Yeah, sure. So, is everything kind of set up?
We're ready whenever you are.
Okay, and we're rolling.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no problem. Sorry. I'll try and make it quick so the zucchini is good. Do you feel like you fit the sad clown stereotype?
Not a bit. No, not a bit. I mean, I don't even buy that. I mean, it's probably sort of a precept of your film. I think Woody Allen messed it up for everyone, just showing, oh, he's an unhappy, neurotic man who somehow makes people laugh. And I get the feeling he's not all that unhappy either.
I'll tell you now. Alan Moore wrote this joke. The guy who wrote Watchmen. But man goes to a doctor and says, I'm so sad. I just want to die. I want to end it all. I see no reason to live. Every morning I wake up and I just want to be dead. Please help me. And the doctor says, I know exactly what to do. The great clown Pagliacci is in town. Go see him. You'll love him. He'll make you feel better. You'll feel great. And the man breaks down crying and says, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. Such a fucking beautiful joke.
If you haven't taken acid, it's a great drug. You gotta take it, but you only get 6 times. You'll get 6 times, and then your 7th time, it's just like images of people dying, your parents getting shot in the face, and then you quit doing drugs, you're depressed for 7 years, and start stand-up comedy. Hi, I'm Dave Ross. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The sad clown, this idea of the depressed comic, is a stereotype about people in comedy, and it's controversial among comedians, to say the least.
The vanity of the stand-up comic, the persona they like to inhabit is, well, I'm really fucked up, so that's why I'm out here doing the things I do. I don't know that you could be a stand-up comic without saying that, even if you didn't really mean it.
You know, there's like a definite romanticization or whatever of like the sad clown, so that I don't like to perpetuate, but yeah, I've had like a lot of friends in comedy who I would say have a tough time, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm just hearing from them more because they are used to like talking about personal stuff and talking about hard subjects a lot more than maybe your average person, but yeah, I notice it a lot more, I think.
The whole romanticized sad clown thing, we gotta get rid of that. That has to go. That's just getting sick people to voluntarily stay sicker and sadder than they have to be.
There's this thing where like every comic, or at least the best comics, are like really damaged or come from this dark place. And it's like, I'd say it's not as many as people think. I think that sometimes people have an act that they do on stage and they have an act that they do off stage. And then I think that they go home and they're generally fine, you know?
Regardless of anyone's personal opinions, it seemed like both on the stage and off, mental illness was a common thread that ran through the comedy industry.
People around this country, and for that matter around the world, are reacting tonight to the terrible news of the death of Robin Williams.
News, comic actor John Belushi died today at a rented hotel.
Sad and upsetting news. We found out that Chris Farley died.
Hi, my name's John, and that's me doing stand-up. For a long time, I felt that mental illness was inseparable from my own decision to pursue stand-up comedy, but I wasn't sure how true this was for everyone else's. Cutting through the media headlines and tabloid gossip, I decided to sit down with some of the brightest comedic minds I could find in effort to get their answers.
The desire to get up on stage with the presumption that you have paid just to hear me because I'm so wildly entertaining, you have to be a little sick. It's kind of like being president. You have to be a little sick and a little bit of an egomaniac to put in the effort to achieve something that kind of grandiose and presumptive.
Must be psychotic, it must be demented to think that I'm worthy of all this attention, of all of this money you worked really hard for. I slept in late while you worked at the drugstore. My drug's attention, I am an addict, but I get paid to indulge in my habit. It's all an illusion. I'm wearing makeup, makeup.
The same ability one has to like sit down and look at a subject and find all the humor in it, when they're not doing that, that same ability can swing the other way and find 1,000 different things to set you off into a state of pure anxiety-ridden panic.
I think most comics didn't choose to be funny. We felt we had to be funny to survive. And people who have to be funny to survive, you're trying to survive something. And generally, that's the thing that is going to pull the trigger for mental illness.
Well, it seems that there is, in fact, some sort of relationship between creativity and inner demons. The research is pretty clear that highly creative people are at somewhat greater risk for certain types of mental illness, including depression, bipolar disorder.
Ever been diagnosed with any mental illness?
You say diagnosis, I say diagesis. Diagnosis, diagesis.
What percent of people would you say, or maybe deal with mental illness?
In stand-up?
In
stand-up comedy
or
and
comedy in general.
Man, I don't think it'd be outlandish if I said 100%.
It's got to be close to like 100.
And that's 100% is a conservative estimate.
It seems like 3 and 5, 4 and 5, 6 and 5. It's like 6 and 5 comedians.
So Sabrina, where are we going right now?
Right now I'm headed to the T for an open mic. Basically, I'm going to be walking to the T and then riding that for 40 minutes. And then I'm going to get to the open mic and wait anywhere between 0 to like an hour and a half until I go on for 3 minutes. And after that, another 40-minute ride back. So 3 hours of like commute and waiting time, 3 minutes on stage. Very good investment.
We had this big thing where like there was a giant buzzsaw, you know, the size of like a school bus, and it was coming down. He was like wiggling around, and he can't get out of his chains. And I got down into the aisle, and I prayed to God to save David Copperfield's life.
What's it feel like to make a room full of strangers laugh?
You're gonna cut to everyone saying the same thing, which is the best feeling in the world.
It is a drug.
It's the best. That's it. It's just the best.
It's like shooting heroin.
It's like doing like a huge rail of coke and not having to worry that your heart's gonna stop.
It was a feeling like I was skydiving, and also fucking like I was but skydiving upwards. That's the only way to describe it. It was just like skydiving in reverse.
The high we're all chasing.
Just like the dream relationship where you are understood and you understand them, and you are loved and you love them, and it is like, man, you can't trade that experience for me.
Boys would be like, "Can I kiss you?" And I'd be like, "I can't hear you." They'd be like, "Can I kiss you?" And I'd be like, "Oh my God, did everyone just hear that?" Growing up was fun.
Like if you have a migraine or something, and when it stops, it feels so fucking awesome that pain is gone. You know, it's almost worth the migraine. You know, like that feeling, like right afterwards, feels so good.
It's like a glass of water. You know, it means more to the person that hasn't had enough water. It tastes good to both people, but the person who grew up in a desert, it's all you can think about.
Yeah, that's how I beat it. You know, I'm not gonna cry about it. Well, yeah, I cried, but I'm not gonna let it beat me. You know, I'm gonna beat it. So I'm gonna go and talk about it. Dude, when I lived in New York City, I got mugged one night. 4 dudes beat the out of me in a street corner in Queens, and I just went up the very next night, just half my face purple and puffed out. I wrote jokes about it. Like that's just how I dealt with things. You know, like yeah, okay, good. I can, you know, I literally as they were beating me, I'm like, if I survive this, I got like 5 new jokes. I already know. I was writing it as they were. I'm not making this shit up. As they were kicking me, I'm like, ooh, fuck. I hope I live because that's a good one.
How do you feel about the mic you had tonight at Second City?
I felt okay about it. Like, I got some big laugh lines, but as far as like consistent, like joke dense material, I still feel like I need to hit a few more mics to get that down.
The thing that they don't tell you growing up about life is this. Life, it's every single day.
Bombing is a part of it as well. Getting up there and eating shit to where no one... That's my least favorite type of laugh. The anti-laugh, which is nothing, you know? Like, that shit's horrible. And it fucks... I mean, like, still, I'm almost 17 years into comedy, and having a bad 15-minute set will almost ruin me until I have the next good set.
You know, it's rare, I think, where somebody... You know, I think it's, I don't know, where they get into comedy and feel shittier than they did before they got in, you know? Like, so I've never met a comic who said, man, I really wish I could have been back at that Fortune 500 job. You know, no, they're like, this is better, you know? But some people, sadly, no matter how much happy they are even doing comedy, they can't escape their sadness.
I've never been close to committing suicide than when I didn't know how I was going to eat 2 or 3 years ago. And... man, that was such a crazy year because it never stopped. And I was like borrowing money and I just like, oh, dude.
We're all mentally fucked up before we start doing this work. The work itself doesn't make us mentally ill, but it can take someone who's just depressed and
it could fuck them up if they're not ready. Yeah,
the wrong situation, make them the worst depressed ever, you know? The most depressed.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, a lot of people want to do it, so you're not necessarily going to get paid right away. And then you're also just on a different schedule than like most of the world if you are doing stand-up. So you're working a lot of times when friends or people are off of work because you're kind of like the entertainment, right? So like they get off of work, they go see a comedy show, and that's when you're working.
I think that mental illness is there from the beginning. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking at the world the way you're looking at it to make jokes the way that you do. But I do think that there are times when it can be... where just the business itself can be such a kick in the dick that it makes you worse, you know? Because you're gonna be broke, you know? Like, Jerry and I make a living off of this stuff, and like, we are sometimes super broke, and I got a kid, you know? And
it's scary. It's scary, and
that shit sucks. And you know, my wife's family, I feel bad. Like, if I'm not like crushing it that year or whatever, like what are they thinking? Or they think I'm like
he's
fuck
just
up.
wasting his time out
You
there.
know, like my family, like what do they think about it? Like, I'm over here, am I just wasting my time? You know, like, should I have gotten a real career? Should I have done something more important with my life? You know, should I have done all these different things? And because you have to struggle like that, because you're facing rejection and you're facing being poor, you know, and you're facing all this other shit, like, it can really bring you down.